see them going under the label of liberals. That white person that you see calling himself a liberal is the most dangerous thing in the entire Western Hemisphere. He's the most deceitful. He's like a fox. And a fox is always more dangerous in the forest than the wolf. You can see the wolf coming. You know what he's up to. But the fox will fool you. He comes at you with his mouth shaped in such a way that even though you see his teeth, you think he's smiling. You take him for a friend.
Spread the word! Have you heard? All across the nation, we are going to be a great generation. Less than a year before he was assassinated, my grandfather predicted this very moment. He said that we were moving into a new phase of the struggle. The first phase was the civil rights, and the new phase is genuine equality. We are going to be the generation that dismantles systemic racism once and for all, now and forever.
That poor girl had her soul crushed on national television. And this isn't some cheap fake or AI generated video. That was Dementia Joe, the real Dementia Joe, completely ignoring and brushing off that young black girl. It's like she was invisible to him. That guy right there, that's the Dementia Joe that the world needs to see. I've seen everyone posting videos about the interview on ABC last night. I don't care about that. That was a choreographed show for the masses. It was sanitized, it was orchestrated, and he still flubbed it. But this video that I'm showing you is the most significant piece of news that came out of yesterday's appearances by Dementia Joe. And very few people were even mentioning it, and you won't see it anywhere on the mainstream media. They don't dare, because this is the real Dementia Joe. The narration that you heard in that video was Martin Luther King Jr.'s granddaughter. I used that audio and the words of Malcolm X because I felt it was so fitting for that video. If you missed what happened, watch it again closely and focus on this young black girl.
There are many whites who are trying to solve the problem, but you never see them going under the label of liberals. That white person that you see calling himself a liberal is the most dangerous thing in the entire Western Hemisphere. He's the most deceitful. He's like a fox. And a fox is always more dangerous in the forest than the wolf. You can see the wolf coming. You know what he's up to. But the fox will fool you. He comes at you with his mouth shaped in such a way that even though you see his teeth, you think he's smiling. You take him for a friend.
Spread the word! Have you heard? All across the nation, we are going to be a great generation. Less than a year before he was assassinated, my grandfather predicted this very moment. He said that we were moving into a new phase of the struggle. The first phase was the civil rights, and the new phase is genuine equality. We are going to be the generation that dismantles systemic racism once and for all, now and forever.
I know some of you may watch that and say, Barry, why are you making such a big deal about this? That's because that is the real Dementia Joe. That is the unscripted Dementia Joe. This is a video that Trump needs to see. This is a video that Charlemagne the God needs to see. This is a video that Stephen A. Smith needs to see. Trust me, this is campaign ending. If enough black people see this, Dementia Joe will lose a massive amount of the black vote. They can't possibly lie their way out of this. And sorry, Karine Jean-Pierre, there is no spin you could make that can explain away what Dementia Joe did to that young black girl. This is one of the worst things I've ever seen in a video. This young black girl is excited to see Dementia Joe. Look at her, she smiles, she says hi to him, she tilts her head, and he completely ignores her. Look, she's crushed right there. In fact, she's getting brushed aside, actually moved out the way. Get out of the way as Dementia Joe reaches out to the young, I don't know if they're Hispanic or white girls sitting there, and he won't even acknowledge that that black girl is even in front of him. He's completely ignoring her. Look, he's hugging that girl. Look, she's got to get out the way. How insulting can that be? She reaches out with her hand to try and get his attention, and he won't even turn his head. Not even. He goes on to the next white woman. This is egregious. I cannot believe that people aren't talking about this on the mainstream media. That poor black girl who came out there, she was probably told to go out there. It looked like she was in her high school uniform. She was absolutely crushed. Look at her face right there. That was a soul-crushing moment. He absolutely obliterated that young girl. There's no excuse for it. There's nothing. There's no way that they can explain away this. This young girl, still in her school uniform, is just brushed away. To me, it's incredible that we would even be looking at this and not just be in a complete uproar. And I'm not just making this up. I don't really care about Dementia Joe, but I care about people. And I'm looking at somebody who's there. She had a bright smile. She was so enthusiastic about meeting the president. And the president didn't want anything to do with her. Nothing. It was like she was invisible, as I said earlier. He didn't even acknowledge her existence. How can you, Whoopi Goldberg or Sonny on The View, how can you possibly explain how this young black girl was treated? Oh, he might not have realized. What do you mean not realized? He moved her out the way. He pushed her out the way. How could he not have realized that she was standing there? She's not a really diminutive young woman. She's kind of big. She's standing there. She obviously stands out because it's like the only black face in the crowd. And he takes a selfie with the white gentleman, moves across, sees her, completely ignores her, and moves on to the other women. Just completely ignored her. I'd love to hear any liberal come to me and tell me and explain what you just saw. What you're seeing right now on the screen. You tell me how that's okay. You tell me how someone who's not inherently racist would do that. I can tell you right now, if that was my kid, I'd be pissed off. I would be absolutely in an uproar that that's how she was treated by the President of the United States. She was insignificant. This is someone who came to your rally, was excited about meeting you, was holding up one of your signs right in front of your face, and you blew her off. You just pushed her aside. So I think this is a really big deal. You guys can let me know in the comments what you think, but to me, this is a huge deal, especially in a campaign season, as much heat as he's been taking with the black community to completely ignore, brush off, and move her out the way. I don't want to meet you. I don't want to even acknowledge your presence. You are not important enough to me for me to even recognize that you're standing at my rally with a sign. I want nothing to do with you. Am I wrong?